Hello, welcome back to Transfer News Live. This is the Scout Report, number one place for analysis on the biggest transfers in Europe. Today, we're going to be talking about how Hugo Ekitike will unlock Arne Slot's new tactics. If you're new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video. But anyway, let's get this party started. So Hugo Ekitike very much is a centre forward. He's a player that has got the potential to be really complete, with the ability to drop deep and get on the ball, make runs in behind the defence, or simply dribble at an opponent and get shots away himself. Ekitike is a rare talent. Where I really like Hugo Ekitike is in and around the penalty area. He's a player that's very, very good at getting shots away on the goal in this zone, either through little carries or dribbles to break the opponent's shape and line, or alternatively just generating shooting opportunities with maybe a little feint and then a direct shot goal. And we've got a great example against Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga of Hugo Ekitike picking up the ball in that inside left channel. We've got him highlighted on screen. Ekitike is renowned for having a very good first touch. His ability to kill the ball straight away allows him to make that next action. This action, of course, is dribbling past Konrad Laimer, then cutting back on the inside to beat Thomas Muller before cracking a low shot past Manuel Neuer in the Bayern goal. That little bit of skill, the little shift and the finish, absolutely superb against one of Germany's most successful football clubs. He's not quite clinical, and that's something he definitely needs to work on, but he does get shots away, and for a centre forward, that is a very good thing. In terms of where he does his best work, you're probably going to say it's the inside left channel, an area of the pitch that can be defined with the following box. This is a zone that Ekitike really enjoys to kind of drift into. It's an area where he can not only get on the ball, but he can create shooting opportunities by cutting in onto that stronger right foot. It's an area where he played at the back end of last season for Eintracht Frankfurt after Omar Mamouche moved to Manchester City. Before, Ekitike was positioned more on the right side of the pitch in their 4-4-2 or 3-5-2, whichever shape Frankfurt were playing, but Ekitike very much known for playing on the inside left channel, being someone to get on the ball. And one final thing with Hugo Ekitike, he is a high-risk, high-reward player. That being, when he's in that channel, it's finding that through ball in behind the defence for midfield runners. Sometimes it doesn't come off, sometimes it does. Think a little bit like Bruno Fernandes, but a tall striker that's good on the ball, but also looks quite direct at times, which can be frustrating for teammates, but also can create goal-scoring opportunities. So let's go back to the tactics. Hugo Ekitike, for me, for Liverpool, will be playing in one of the forward positions. Got it first as a little bit of a 4-2-3-1, because at times it will be like that, with Hugo Ekitike threatening the back line, drifting into little areas to make runs in behind the defence, with Florian Wirtz sitting behind him. But what we've seen from Arne Slot is this box midfield. That, of course, is Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike providing a box with the defensive midfielders behind them. Of course, Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister. This has been a real key bit to Arne Slot's tactics. It overloads the opponent's middle shape. For example, if they decide to press the football with one of their forwards, you've got a 2v4 overload. Let's say if the two centre-backs jump, you've got a massive problem because of the pace of Mohamed Salah and the finishing quality of Cody Gakpo. That's an area where Liverpool really got at teams last season, so I expect Hugo Ekitike to play more like a deep-lying forward in the first part of his Liverpool career. As I mentioned previously, he's got the ability to be really complete, but there's definitely work to be done on his game. But I think this will be the setup for Liverpool, the 4-2-4 shape or the 4-box-2, to allow Ekitike to overload the opposition's midfield with Florian Wirtz. Again, they're going to be pinned by the two Liverpool wide players who will generally hold the height of the team. You know, a classic thing for modern day sides that are very good with possession. But I think one of the big reasons why Ekitike has been brought into this Liverpool setup is to score goals. Only 14% of Liverpool's goals in the Premier League last season came from their strikers. That's an area where there needs to be improvement. And in terms of Ekitike, again, we mentioned previously, or we've seen a previous example, of him picking up the ball in these deeper areas, driving inside, and then getting shots at goal across the goalkeeper. He likes to finish with an open foot, likes to curl the ball past the keeper. But in terms of him in the box, I also like his ability to hold up the ball, shift it wide, and then either, for example, Mohamed Salah to wait for the overlap from Jeremy Frimpong and then the cutback to come into the box. This is somewhere where Ekitike is really good at arriving late, but then beating the opposition's defender to the ball. We've got a great example of that against Borussia Dortmund. We pick up the play with Frankfurt being behind the Borussia Dortmund left fullback. Ekitike highlighted in the penalty area, but he shows real aggression and willingness to attack the ball on the near post, beats the defender there and finishes across the goalkeeper. These types of goals weren't scored by Liverpool's number 9 last season, and it's an area where Arne could get more goals. Obviously, Liverpool scored a hatful of goals last season, but the centre forward putting the ball in the back of the net was a bit of a rarity. More frequently, we'd see the likes of Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz scoring goals from those wide positions. So I do think Hugo Ekitike is going to give some real uniqueness to Liverpool's attack in terms of being a 9 that can score goals. But Hugo Ekitike needs to work on his finishing. He's a player that's very good at getting into goal-scoring areas, but can be a little bit rash when it comes to maybe 1v1 situations or beating a goalkeeper from inside the box. When we look at his expected goals, he underperformed more than any other player in Europe. That's a statistic that Darwin Núñez was renowned for in the Premier League. But I think Núñez and Ekitike are very different in terms of players. Darwin Núñez is basically a player that can only really do damage when he's running in behind your back line in the channels or behind the 2 centre-backs, where I think Ekitike's skills really come in actually receiving to feet. Think someone like Alexander Isak, he's very good at receiving, turning, and then linking with his teammates. And that's one of the first things you want to focus on in terms of unlocking this Liverpool lineup. You mentioned previously it's important to have a striker that can score goals. So number 1, it unlocks the overlap, which I think is going to be really important for Liverpool's lineup. We mentioned they're going to be playing this 4-2-4 again next season, but in terms of personnel, it's slightly different. Obviously, Andy Robertson was a fullback that would overlap, and he's still at the football club and still will play left back. But Trent Alexander-Arnold is at Real Madrid, and Liverpool have bought Jeremy Frimpong. He's a player that will provide a lot of thrust in the final third, either on the overlap or what we'll probably see is Liverpool retaining a slightly different shape. That being Frimpong being super high, Salah in the inside left channel. This is exactly where he played at the start of his Liverpool career. This is where he was so dangerous. Of course, he broke Premier League records last season with his assisting and goal scoring, operating wider than we've seen previously, but I think Salah will be back in the middle as one of the strikers, with Frimpong naturally holding the width. So in terms of overlapping, I think what we'll see a little bit more is actually if Gakpo narrows up slightly and Ekitike kind of drifts a little bit inside, we'll see Kerkez on the overlap on that side. But I think the big thing when it comes to, plying that ball and getting Gakpo combining with Kerkez on the outside, having a proper number 9 in that area to make those aggressive runs. Of course, you've got Salah attacking the back post from the left-hand side, but Ekitike will unlock the tactics when it comes to overlapping on the left-hand side of the pitch, and Kerkez or Robertson getting crosses into the box. But I think one of the bigger players that is going to get unlocked by Hugo Ekitike, of course, is Florian Wirtz, Liverpool's €120 million man. In terms of the setup, of course, we've got Ekitike in the inside left channel at the moment. But again, that's where Florian Wirtz absolutely flourished at Bayer Leverkusen, playing in that role. So having Ekitike maybe more as that central striker that can basically, drop off the line into a midfield area, allowing Wirtz and Salah to sit high, could work very well. Florian Wirtz is a player that loves dropping deep to get on the ball and then making things happen in the final third. Of course, what we need to see for balancing this is either Gakpo holding the width on the left wing, or alternatively, let's say if Gakpo's getting involved in build-up, Kerkez facilitating himself in that position. Arne Slot's Liverpool are super fluid, so I fully expect these things to happen. But in terms of that link-up, as soon as that pass has been played, let's put Kerkez back to a deeper position, Gakpo out wide, but as soon as Liverpool can work it to Florian Wirtz, here is where it gets very dangerous. The pair are both very good in sort of 1-2 combinations, and that's something that I expect to see a lot from Liverpool, is Gakpo and Ekitike bouncing off each other in these central areas. Both can play a through ball, both can get an assist, both can be very good on the dribble in these areas. When we look at Hugo Ekitike's statistics, he got 8 assists in the Bundesliga. That was the second most of any striker in Europe's top 5 leagues. So that ability to not only create for Florian Wirtz, but link with him is definitely there. But I think the idea that Liverpool will be better with Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike is very much apparent, and it almost unlocks their team more. As I mentioned before, both players like to drop off the line and get on the ball. This allows Liverpool to play this kind of tactical shape and be in positions where they can penetrate the opposition's line. Again, Florian Wirtz is a player that is very, very good in these areas, can score, can assist. In fact, no midfielder in the past 2 seasons has been directly involved in more goals in all competitions than Florian Wirtz. He is head-to-head with Cole Palmer. We all know how good Cole Palmer has been. And I think with Florian Wirtz, he will be the side's advanced playmaker. When we look at his stats from last season, 4 midfielders, he was second for assists, second for dribbles completed, second for touches in the final third, second for shot creating actions following a dribble, and third for through balls for midfielders in Europe. This is an area which will be really good for Ekitike. And having someone that's kind of comfortable when being played through in Ekitike, again, is going to unlock more goals for Liverpool. As we said before, it's an area of Ekitike's game that needs to be improved. It's being played clean through, but he's going to get more opportunities with Florian Wirtz. Or alternatively, what we might see is Ekitike receiving off Wirtz, and then Ekitike finding that through ball to Mohamed Salah. I think we'll see that time and time again. Little jink back inside from Salah onto that left foot, finishing across the goalkeeper. I think in this new setup, this kind of 3-2-5 shape with one wing back high, one wing back low could be very good. Alternatively, what we could see in this situation, let's say Liverpool want to play slightly more defensively minded midfield. Let's throw Dominic Szoboszlai in, let's drop Gakpo out. So in terms of this setup, and I believe why Florian Wirtz will unlock Liverpool's team, is because he's also very comfortable at holding the width. At times, we saw Grimaldo attacking that central space at Bayer Leverkusen on the underlap from wing-back. That's something that Kerkez could do. Knowing that we've got a player that can create opportunities at Florian Wirtz, either that's those inverted crosses from the wide areas. Again, Hugo Ekitike is decent at attacking crosses. Something that needs to improve on. He scored 1 goal with his head in the Bundesliga. That came at the back end of last season on a cross, but he attacked that ball superbly well. So it's an area where I feel he can score more goals. But let's say Liverpool want to go a little bit more defensively minded, a little bit more of a controlled team. Wirtz is holding the width. Ekitike, Salah, maybe in these narrow positions, with Florian Wirtz providing that width. In terms of setup, what this could look like, in terms of the build, obviously Kerkez starting in a left-back position, Salah on the right-hand side, Ekitike through the middle, and Szoboszlai a little bit deeper, more 4-2-3-1 shape. In terms of this and how it would work and why Ekitike would unlock this, Salah comes inside, Ekitike becomes that option into feet, Dominic Szoboszlai drops into a midfield area with McAllister. Gravenberch splits the centre-backs as a half-back. And then both full-backs bomb on and provide the width in the final third. This is more like Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp in the first few seasons with Mane, Salah and Firmino. Again, Ekitike is the Firmino player, the player that's going to come off the line and receive into feet. Wirtz is going to operate inside as a playmaker. And obviously Salah as that goal scorer in the final third. It's an area where I feel like Ekitike would thrive again, and this gives Liverpool more of a kind of 3-4-3 setup. Something that both Kerkez and Frimpong have done very well in their career, is providing the width in the final third in these zones. And I think one of the interesting things for Liverpool next season is how do they deal with low blocks? And I feel this is another area that Ekitike absolutely unlocks. The low block is probably the horriblest thing to deal with when you're a possession-based team. 10 players behind the ball. But I think with Florian Wirtz operating inside left, Salah inside right as a goal scorer on the last line, Ekitike off the line, I think that's an area where Liverpool could create opportunities. Again, with the penetrative passive of McAllister and Szoboszlai, but also the carrying. Again, we could see some carrying from Ryan Gravenberch from the base of the midfield. Could allow them to draw in some players and then feed Ekitike into feet. Got a great example against Ajax of Ekitike in and around the box, creating a wonderful goal for Eintracht Frankfurt. So we pick up the play with Frankfurt cutting in from the left wing. Got Ekitike highlighted in a nice area outside the box. As Frankfurt build inside with a little 1-2, they look for Ekitike's feet. This hold-up play is sensational. One touch with his soul to control the ball. Faces himself up instantly to get looking forward. Checks his shoulder to see the run into the box. Finds it with a wonderful pass. And that is a goal for Frankfurt to take the lead. That kind of play is what Liverpool need against these low blocks. That ability to create something out of nothing with a bit of hold-up play, a turn, a through ball. Simple football, but something Liverpool will need next season. And finally, Ekitike is going to be a threat on the counter-attack. Liverpool scored more goals than any other team in the Premier League on the break last season. Ekitike is very good with space ahead of him. And given Liverpool's shape's going to be this 4-4-2 structure off the ball, Ekitike will see a lot of his play play being high at the pitch. Take this assist against Leipzig. Ekitike had a pretty bad first half against Leipzig, but this moment was brilliant. Ekitike receiving wide left. Good first touch and then drives inside into the dangerous area. Spots the pass once again. His awareness is very good. A through ball to Knauf. Knauf finishes across the goalkeeper. Ekitike is going to unlock Liverpool's counter-attack by him being a very good ball carrier on the break. Salah could potentially be positioned next to him as well from a defensive sense, given his age and kind of how dangerous he is on the break. We could see Ekitike and Salah on the counter-attack for Liverpool. But overall, Hugo Ekitike is a great signing for Liverpool. He might not be great straight away, but give the guy time, he'll adapt to the Premier League, he'll improve his goal scoring, could become a very complete player for Arne. I think it could take 6 to 9 months for him really to get the speed of the Premier League, but he's a player that's got big potential and a good signing for Liverpool, who've done very well in the market this summer. I've, of course, been Statman Dave on Transfer News Live. Get into the comments below. Do you think Hugo Ekitike unlocks Arne Slot's tactics? And we will see you in the next one.